Recognize Senator Kaine.
Thank you, Senator, and thanks to the panel. This is a power-packed panel. So all three of you have been ambassadors, and the three nations you're nominated to serve as ambassadors are three of our top 5 trading partners, Mexico #1, Canada #3, Japan #5. So we don't have a panel like this very often. And so first, congratulations on your nomination to posts as important as this. The nations of Canada, Japan, and Mexico are also partners and friends. Not friends without challenges. You know, a friendship that hadn't been tested by a challenge isn't a friendship. So all of these are relationship with challenges. But this is not a hard call as to whether Canada, Japan, and Mexico are on the friend side of the ledger or the adversary ledger. They're on the friend side of the ledger. And I am a strong believer that we are stronger as a nation when we link arms with friends against adversaries and not get confused about who is a friend and who isn't. And I'm troubled by actions in the first couple months, some of which may be negotiation tactics, but I am troubled by actions in the first couple months that are making some of our friends, including Canada especially, wonder if, in fact, we recognize the values of friendship that have stretched for centuries. Mr. Johnson, I want to focus my questions on you. I wish I had 20 minutes, I'd get to all of you, but I'm the chairman of the lead Democrat, the ranking member on the Western Hemisphere subcommittee here, and your service in Salvador, your nomination to Mexico is really important. I want to ask a question about rule of law and sort of some tendencies toward authoritarianism in Mexico, but I'll begin with a precursor. You did have a very strong reputation in your service in El Salvador. There were a number of things going well. There were also some things that were causing major concerns. There was an incident when you were ambassador where President Bukele sent troops into the National Assembly to try to strong-arm a vote on something that he thought was important. And my recollection, and I'd be happy to be corrected about this, is that you did not say anything publicly about that clearly sort of authoritarian move. I have been in other nations in the Americas where similar things have happened, and either the ambassador or the charge, in one case it was in Guatemala, spoke up pretty strongly against obvious authoritarian moves. I'm less interested in the Salvador side. I'm really interested in Mexico. A couple of things are happening in Mexico. One involves Senator Haggerty, and I know he might ask you about it. There have been efforts to try to seize American property in Mexico. There's a company, Vulcan, that operates in a number of states that has property in Mexico where the AMLO government was clearly trying to seize it, even using military to do so. And the current Mexican government has been a little bit unclear about the posture they're going to take. Are they going to continue that or not? Similarly, there have been actions in Mexico to reduce the independence of the judiciary, and largely that has been seen as an effort to clip the wings of a judiciary that might stand up against corruption, stand up against, single-party rule, dangerous to the rule of law. Should you be confirmed in Mexico, how do you see the current situation there, and how could you use your service as an ambassador to promote rule of law, to promote protection of property rights, and to put some kind of a check, or at least public warning against drifts toward authoritarianism?
Senator, thank you for the question, and thank you for your continuing interest in Latin America for many decades now, especially Honduras. So thank you very much for that. I'd like to first address what occurred on February the 6th in, I believe it was 2020, in El Salvador, when President Bukele entered the assembly on a Sunday with armed troops. First of all, I am publicly on the record saying that I did not condone what he did. And something that few people know is that I was in contact with him moments before he made the decision, and I was telling him not to go, do not do this.
How far in advance of that were you aware that that was his intent?
I think hours in advance. I mean, it happened on a weekend. I believe it was on a Sunday, and it was an emergency session of Congress, and some members resented that they were being called in and didn't show up. And there were people on both sides that were demonstrating. It was a peaceful demonstration, a truly peaceful demonstration. And one thing that I've used to highlight the entrance into to the assembly, President Bukele has no plainclothes security. That was the only security he has. And one thing that I think emphasizes how peaceful it was is they had to wait 45 minutes to delay entering 45 minutes to wait for the guy with the key to show up to open the door. There had been previous times at the assembly in El Salvador that had not been nearly that peaceful. But we did address it, and I did criticize him publicly for doing that, as well as privately. We had long discussions about it. Mexico is much different. I think the key anywhere to a relationship like that is to establish a trust and confidence in each other early on in the relationship. I think the way to do that is to look at things that are mutually beneficial to both the United States and Mexico and focus, at least initially, focus your energy on those things. I think in terms of U.S. businesses and property seizures of U.S. foreign investments in Mexico is a signal to the world that frightens other potential investors. And I think by engaging and having a dialogue about how this might affect your future and how your economy could move forward or could move backward purely based on foreign investment in Mexico. They're right now, I believe, if they're not number one, they're close to being our number one foreign investment location too. So I think the key to that is just having that constant dialogue and building trust.
Appreciate that. Thank you.